I'm here in Vadodara at the historic Moti Bagh ground. This is a place where I saw a match against the West Indies in 83-84. That was my first visit to this ground, and the memories of that come rushing back. Baroda, I might just, it is called Baroda Cricket Association still. Just to put it in context, it's the fourth most successful side in the Ranji Trophy after Mumbai, Karnataka and Delhi. So, lot many people don't know that. It's won the Ranji Trophy 5 times, countless number of times. It's been the runners-up team in the Ranji Trophy, and it's produced some excellent cricketers. Just to drop a few names, in the 40s and 50s, there was Vijay Hazare, J.M. Mama Ghorpade, D.K. Gaikwad, Chandu Bode. These are the people who played in the 50s. Late in the 1990s and the 2000s, you will come to Kiran More, Nayan Mongia, the Pathan brothers, and now of course currently the Pandya brothers. But a very pivotal phase of Baroda cricket, there's one gentleman who features in that from the late 60s as a budding universities cricketer right till the 1990s, I think till the mid 1990s or perhaps even later. He held Baroda cricket together, and he's the man. He's my guest today. He's the man I'm going to speak to, Anshuman Gaikwad. Welcome, Anshu.
Hi.
Lovely catching up with you again, as always.
Same here.
Now, putting Baroda or Vadodara cricket in context, and we are at this ground where presumably you played a lot of your cricket. Your first thoughts about this ground. When did you first see this ground?
Yes, we go long way back. I was about 9 years, 10 years. Then I used to come with my father, and being a ball boy, basically go pick up, balls from all over.
Let me put this in context. When he says I used to come here with my father, his father was D.K. Gaikwad, who was also captain of India, and again, as I mentioned earlier, one of the sterling names of Baroda cricket.
Yeah, and you're talking about what, 50 years, 55 years back, and very fond memories. Yes, because my entire life was revolving around this ground. All the time, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening. And I was crazy about cricket. Cricket being in the family, all my uncles, my grandfather, father, everybody. It was a cricketing family. So there was, what you say is cricket was in the blood. And that's how it started.
Yeah.
Being a ball boy, then slowly I was allowed to get into the nets, and so on and so forth. And it just carried on.
So, when you say the cricketing legacy obviously comes from your family, very strong tradition, then did you just take up to the game by watching and hearing about the stories, or were you pushed actively by your father into the sport?
No, not really. In fact, like I said, it was the entire discussion that used to take place at home or even outside. Dad had these friends which were only cricketers, so it was all the time cricket.
Yeah.
Whatever discussion took place in the house, at home, started as a cricket and cricketers.
So, Baroda, now of course Vadodara, I must correct myself every time, but Baroda cricket, when you became conscious of it, 9-10 years old, and then you started hearing from your father, from other people around him and you, what was the thought about Baroda cricket? Was it, at one point in time Baroda was a powerful team, and then it, the attention shifted more towards not just Bombay but Delhi, Karnataka, the other teams came into the kind of public reckoning. Baroda cricket, what was the ethos, what was the thought process in Baroda cricket?
I think it was, thanks to the royal family.
Yeah.
Yes, because they were the ones who took a lot of interest.
Yeah.
And a lot of these cricketers, big names came to Baroda, and they started playing. So there was a lot of follow-up, and Baroda became a very strong state as for cricket, and to reckon with, a force to reckon with as far as BC is concerned. And it was my grandfather, my mother's father, Mr. W.N. Ghorpade. He was the first one where Pratap Singh Rao, in fact, asked him to go and attend a meeting in Delhi, and he got the recognition to Baroda to play Ranji Trophy, and he was the first captain. So, again, what we are talking, it's all in the family. And he won the Ranji Trophy. That was the first time. Then came the Hazares and so on.
Also won Ranji Trophy under your father's captaincy.
Yeah, that's right.
In the 50s, late 50s, if I remember correctly.
59.
Just tell us a little about you know, the royal patronage for cricket in India is a fascinating story in itself.
Absolutely.
You know, whether it's the Gwalior state or Baroda or
Jamnagar. Yeah.
or, you know, even Pataudi, very
Pataudi,
famous in
yes.
Indian cricket history because they played. What was this royal patronage like? What did they do? How did they support?
I think it was just a passion,
Passion.
and they used to bring them. You know, Amir Lai used to come, Gul Muhammad has come, and they came and stayed there. Maharaja Baroda took care of them. They had to just play cricket.
Okay.
Like my dad, my father also, you know, he was almost brought up in palace with Maharaja Fateh Singh Rao as a companion.
Oh,
What he had to do is, you know, play cricket, concentrate on cricket, nothing else. And they were given asked to do riding in the morning. They were looked after, their nourishments, everything, but cricket. And it was just a passion. So it turned out to be, I would say, a culture in Baroda, because Baroda, even today, if you look at it, we don't have a stadium. But in spite of that, whatever facilities we had was this ground,
yeah.
Motiba ground. So everything what we did, whatever, you know, facilities we had, was what was available.
Yeah.
And that is how the Baroda culture, cricket culture came up. And you see so many cricketers from Baroda played for India.
Yes.
In spite of not having the infrastructure like Mumbai, or Delhi or Calcutta or Bangalore.
Yeah.
So it's the culture that was developed, and that culture took everybody along with.
Yeah.
And it was that discipline. Discipline was the foremost thing as far as cricket Baroda is concerned. I know what today, but for sure,
Yeah.
meaning there's no question of coming a minute late
Yeah.
for the net practice, forget the matches.
I'll talk about that because, you know, apart from you as captain must have also enforced the same kind of training and discipline that you went through.
Yeah.
But touching a little on the, you know, the royal patronage for the sport in India is their own participation was also there.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, we hear some very quirky stories of
know.
Maharajas and
I
all who would impose themselves into the team, though they didn't have the talent.
Agreed.
Was that a problem?
No, it was, see, basically they were the patrons of the game.
Yeah.
They were the ones who were looking after the welfare of cricketers. They used to bring them, make them stay, look after them, and make them play cricket. So it was passion.
Yeah.
So with that passion, they also wanted to get in and do something, whether it is batting, bowling.
And
at times, the best part, the Maharajas were not allowed to be given out. They had to carry on. You know?
Yeah.
That was the best part.
But they would support talent if they saw.
Oh yes. That's how Maharaja Baroda.
Yeah.
They got all these talented cricketers from outside, like Hazare,
Yeah.
Sandhu as you mentioned
Yes.
earlier.
Yes.
You know, all they brought them here.
Yes.
There was a person called Yaqub Sheikh
Yeah.
who used to coach all these guys before Mama Sahib Ghorpade.
Yes.
So you know, it was them who did it.
Yeah.
It was the Royals, because Baroda Cricket Association. I remember when I was playing in late 60s,
Correct.
and Baroda Cricket Association didn't have money, so Maharaja Fateh Singh Rao Gaikwad used to finance BCA,
Yeah.
Baroda Cricket Association.
Okay.
And Mr. Lele was the secretary, then my father was secretary, Hazare was secretary. But it was on relying on
Yeah.
the royal family. So naturally, I feel when they are doing so much,
Yeah.
they would. But I think Maharaja Baroda, Fateh Singh Rao,
Was
Gaikwad, he captained Baroda.
Yes.
And he was a decent player.
Decent
I don't
player.
think it was a forceful thing that.
Yeah. But interestingly, and this is why, you know, whatever, when I track Indian cricket, so apart from Mumbai, which is a great melting pot of, you know, all the diversity of India, Baroda and Baroda cricket, you see there's a strong Marathi or Maharashtrian influence in this city.
Yeah.
There's a Gujarati influence. Then there were people like Hazare and all who were actually Christians. They were brought in here.
Yeah.
Then people like Amir Ilahi and all came and participated. They were Gujaratis, but they were also Muslims. So Baroda after Mumbai was actually a strong melting pot where cricket is concerned.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, if you look at Baroda performances
Yeah.
in the Ranji Trophy or whatever, then, of course, the kind of participation at the international level or national level
Yeah.
was there. And if you look at it, you know, a lot of players from Baroda were in the Indian team.
Yeah.
And the entire process that went through was, I guess, basically, if you think of it, I would give total, credit to the Royals.
Yeah.
But they had this passion which kept on pushing the cricketers.
Yeah.
And all these cricketers, as you rightly said, came from outside.
Yeah.
You know, but there was no one to look after them.
Yeah.
But they were looked after so well. They were given money, pocket money, everything was looked after,
Yeah.
their comfort, everything.
Yeah.
So the Baroda cricket went just, zooming up.
Yeah. What was the ethos like? So, for instance, now when you're growing up, you're a 10, 12, 13-year-old, looking to become a cricketer for obviously your state association. And then you're hearing names like, for Mumbai cricket, whoever's there playing, even in your formative years, maybe, Wadekar,
Yeah.
generation before you started playing. So, was there a thing, these are such big names, how to compete? What was the feeling in the Baroda cricket environment? Okay, how do we go out and compete with these guys who may have more opportunities?
Yeah. As a youngster, I'll tell you, I used to sit near the scoreboard
Yeah.
and there was a wooden box in the heat. There were no tents and it used to be hot. Mumbai playing Baroda. It was sort of a thing that it was accepted fact that Baroda is not going to go too far against Mumbai. Because Mumbai is very strong. And I'm telling you, that is when I was playing.
Yeah.
Earlier, it was Baroda Mumbai.
Yes.
They were at par.
Par, yeah.
And there was a great contest. But we used to, as a youngster, we used to look forward to, all these big names. And, the thought used to come.
Yeah.
Never thought that you would go and play with them.
Correct.
Or rub shoulders with them.
Yeah.
But always that thought was there, will I make it?
Yeah.
I would like to be there in the center,
Yeah.
playing.
So,
But that thing, that challenge which we had went on, pushing us individually
yes.
and following the game closely. And that is how, even then, see, the basic thing was, you are a good student of the game.
Yeah.
You became because you were, all the time monitoring, looking at things,
Yeah.
how they happen, how each cricketer behaves,
Yeah.
and how they go ahead. So that helped.
Correct.
And we then followed that tradition.
Because you have been widely regarded and quite justifiably as amongst the most astute cricketing brains in the country. You've also coached the Indian team. You captained not just Baroda but also West Zone. Now, obviously, it starts from within the family. Your father, who is a story in himself, which I will do separately,
Yeah.
Into his 90s now, captain of India.
He remembers, Ayaz, he remembers everything. He can
So,
tell you pinpoint
fantastic.
what happened in 52, 53.
So, once he sees interest in young Anshuman Gaikwad as a schoolboy, interest in cricket, what is his process of disciplining you and training you?
Discipline was to the core, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And that is what the best thing was as far as we were concerned.
When you look back now.
And my father, he coached Baroda at various levels, right
Yeah.
from when I was a kid, for 40 years, 40 long years.
Wow.
And that discipline has been inculcated in all the players. And that's what I call culture.
Yes.
That brought and pushed us through to go and perform well. So it came to me, I guess, when I started playing cricket, he stopped me. Because I was very scared. I was very skinny and scared of fast bowling. So he used to say, forget it. And he stopped me playing cricket.
Oh.
Yeah, when I was in school.
Yeah.
I said, you better study. So he asked me to take higher maths and physics, chemistry and this, and you better concentrate on that, become a doctor or engineer.
Correct.
You're not going to play cricket. But then, destiny.
Yes. No, but you also emerged as one of the most courageous batsmen against fast
I
bowling.
know,
So,
but lot of credit goes to Mama Sahib Ghorpade.
Mama Sahib Ghorpade.
You know, you won't believe I used to bat. The moment fast bowler used to come, I used to go. and we-
Withdraw, yeah.
Mama Sahib tied my leg, right leg, to the pole of the net. So
Oh.
it doesn't go back.
Yeah.
So I had to, go
Yeah.
this on the off stump and not go away from the stumps.
Very unconventional but very effective.
Yeah. And that actually, sort of made me come out of that fear of fast
Yeah.
bowling.
Yeah.
Otherwise, school I was terrible.
When you were growing up, did you hear of the exploits of a Vijay Hazare? He was arguably the biggest name at one point in time in Indian cricket, along with the two other Vs,
Yeah,
Venu Mankad
yeah.
and Vijay Merchant.
Merchant,
And he played for Baroda. Then you had Kishan Chand, who was played for
Yeah.
India, and so on. So, were there stories about them coming from your own father,
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
with rubbing shoulders with them?
Yeah, absolutely. Meaning, again, the biggest thing was discipline. Hazare,
Yeah.
my father, Kishan Chand. Kishan Chand was somewhat who used to make a lot of jokes and all that.
Yeah.
But all Chandu Borde, you name anyone
Yes.
at that time was disciplined all the way. And Hazari, I remember, meaning talking to him, he was man of few words.
Yeah.
He wouldn't talk much.
Yeah.
But what used to happen is you had to go and ask him, and he would say few words.
Correct.
But I remember when I played for India, and one day he stopped his car and called me. So I went there, and he said very softly, he said, "How come you're getting out in 20s and 30s?" And I got out quite a few times, batting for 2 hours and 3 hours and so on.
Yeah.
I said, "I don't know, sir, what is happening, but it is happening." He said, "Remember, when you reach that stage of 25, 30 runs, you are batting on zero. You start concentrating again, don't look at the scoreboard, and start counting
Counting again. Yeah.
And that's happening. These
Yeah.
are, simple and few words, but they
Yeah.
are so useful,
Correct.
valuable.
Was there a reward and punishment system within your family? Your father would reward you if you did well.
No.
Or-
No. There was very, very little appreciation, word of appreciation.
Acha.
Oh, no.
Strict
Because they believed that, well, this is what you're supposed to do.
too. So what's the big deal? You're supposed to do it.
What's the big deal?
What's the-
But if you don't do it, yes, then you are taken to task.
And would the royal, from the royal family, the patrons who were there, would they, if you did well as a schoolboy or a college student, would they meet you, encourage? Not necessarily you, but a bunch of boys. Was there, overt support?
Among the boys, yes.
Yes.
But the seniors, no, very rarely. They used to, of course, appreciate that what you've done. Like
Yeah.
you get 100 in school
Yeah,
or university, they'll say, well done.
right.
But nothing more than that. They wanted to probably make sure that we don't get carried away
Correct. So
with your success.
it's very interesting, and I'm sure it'll be of interest to people who are hearing you now. What was the incentive? So there was unlike today, you do well, everybody's eyeing an IPL contract, and good luck, it opens up. You don't need to, livelihood is taken care of. But in the 60s, when you were growing up, cricket wasn't so rewarding financially.
True.
What was the incentive?
Incentive is to play. Play and play to get recognized
Yeah,
and become popular.
yeah. And maybe
There
get
was no money.
Maybe get a job.
And that was later.
Later. Yeah,
That was like 70s and 80s.
yeah,
Because that time jobs were given only by Maharajas,
yeah.
all the states. Later on the corporates came in,
Correct.
then banks came in. So that was much later. That was there, then that situation was such, the approach changed that, well, you do well to get a job.
Yeah,
But initially, Ayaz, it was just purely go out there and play cricket, let people know you are playing cricket.
correct.
That was the thing.
So I'm assuming, is it a fair assumption to make that you came from a cricketing family and therefore a background which was rich in cricket? So was that an advantage or a disadvantage? Because then you would be immediately compared.
No, I think it was an advantage.
Advantage.
Because there was no money.
Yeah,
Competition was there, of course, but you were recognized as so-and-so's son.
yeah,
At least you had recognition. The others were not.
correct,
So you had an advantage. But the comparison starts only when you get to that level.
correct,
That so-and-so, like Sunil Gavaskar was like this, Rohan Gavaskar is like this.
correct.
Lala Amarnath was like this, Mohinder is like this. Or Vijay Manjrekar was like this, Sanjay is like
Sanjay,
this.
exactly.
So that comparison comes only later.
Yeah.
By then you have established yourself.
Correct.
Initially, and that time, maybe, because as you rightly said, there was no money involved.
Yeah,
So it was only playing cricket, purely playing cricket, and for the sake of cricket.
yeah. I'm just trying to understand a scenario where the schoolboy Anshuman Gaikwad heading towards finishing school, etc. What was your pocket money?
Pocket money.
What was it then?
You're talking playing BCCI tournaments?
No, I'm saying pocket money from home, 12, 13 years old.
No pocket.
No pocket money, right? So,
We were not, meaning I think first time I must have gone to a restaurant
yeah,
or seen a movie
Yeah.
is only when I went past my school.
right. So, and
Nothing till then.
what was the cricketing expense? You bought a bat, it had to last. You had to oil it yourself.
Yeah. That time too, you had
You
to
had to
really
do it.
nurture and nurture. Not only nurture, you have to maintain.
Yeah.
Clean it with sandpaper and blade.
Correct.
And then oil it, keep
Yeah.
it overnight to go on bat and see that the stroke comes in.
Correct.
And it was not easy to get even bats
Correct.
that time. But fortunately for me,
Yeah.
my father was playing, so he had
Yeah.
enough of bats.
Correct.
But he wouldn't let me touch his bats.
Yeah.
But he would get one and give it to me.
Did he choose you should be a batsman or you chose yourself? Because I remember you were
No.
a fairly regular bowler
Yes.
in your early days.
I had, in fact, surprisingly, like I said, I was very scared of fast bowling.
Yeah.
So I didn't encourage myself into, batting too much. But I was fond of bowling.
Yeah.
So I started as an off spinner
Yeah.
in the school. I played as an off spinner. I used to bat number 10. And after that, university is the time when I started getting little runs, batting at number 7 in the university team.
Yeah.
Then I was promoted and I came to number 4, number 3 in the university team
Yeah.
and played for Baroda as an off spinner.
As an off spinner.
Off spinner. And this was way back in '69. And slowly, then I got promoted as towards that time when I played as an off spinner, I was batting number 10. for
Then you
Baroda.
became a top order batsman.
Then I became a middle order.
Middle order.
I never opened the innings.
Till you played for India.
Then I played for India and in West Indies.
In the West Indies. So I'm going West Indies, of course, your calling card, so to speak, playing against the West Indies, because that's where you made your debut also.
Yeah.
74, 75.
That's right.
Right, and you had a very good stretch in universities cricket,
Yeah.
which brought you made 100 against them in the universities
That's right.
game,
Combined university.
combined universities, and therefore you got into the. I remember seeing you at Brabant Stadium, at Wankhede Stadium, the
Correct.
first match
The
there,
first match.
at the first match,
Yeah.
and then of course you and Brijesh Patel were the two emerging young stars
Correct.
in Indian cricket.
That's right.
I'm going to talk about West Indies cricket a little later, but universities cricket.
Was very
How much
important.
did it shape your career?
Very important.
Yeah.
You see, even
Because
now-
that's one thing we have seem to have lost now, universities
Correct,
cricket.
correct. There's a big gap.
Big gap.
Because now see what BCCI is doing, they have under 14, under 16, 19, 23.
Yeah.
But the boys get lost
Correct.
after school and then.
Yeah,
See, once they get out of school, they might play under 23, but how many
correct.
can play for a state team? University gave that exposure,
Yeah.
university cricket. And it was not only inter-university, all India universities, but we had Busy Trophy and so on.
Yeah.
Combined universities team used to play with every touring side where you could, sort of showcase
Yeah.
your talent. And you had an opportunity
Yeah.
to showcase that,
Yeah.
which is not now.
And you played good quality
Oh yes, Oh yes. And we rose by the rank.
ranks.
It was not like under 19 and straight into IPL or straight into Indian team. No. That was very strict. That they always believed that time. Just because you get runs in Ranji Trophy 1 year,
Yeah.
you cannot play for India.
India.
The psychology that time of the selectors was let him go through grind.
Grind. Yeah.
Let him play for 2-3 years. Let him get seasoned. Then you think about it.
I'm going to talk to you about your, the areas you grew into, but obviously at the critical juncture was being selected for India after that century for combined universities,
Yeah.
and we'll continue the conversation elsewhere. But tell us, when you first how did you get the news that you were selected for India?
I was playing Ranji Trophy in Mumbai
In Mumbai.
against Mumbai.
Yeah.
Because that time zonal system
Correct.
was not like all
Yeah.
India. And
You were what, 22?
21.
21.
Yeah. And in the evening we were staying in a hotel called Sea Green South.
Yes.
On
Marine Drive. Yes,
just
yes, yes.
by CCI.
Yeah.
And my uncle came and said, knocked the door. He said, hey, congratulations. I said, what happened? He said, you're selected
Yeah.
for India. And I couldn't believe it. Meaning, I thought I didn't have my legs.
Yeah.
It was all gone. And before that, I had played Mama Karmarkar's benefit match in Pune, along with Tiger.
Okay.
Before that, 1966, my dad took me to see a test match, India-West Indies at CCI.
CCI.
And I was in North Stand. I was not allowed because I was too young
Yes.
to get into CCI.
CCI.
So lunchtime, I told Dad, I said, can you, and he used to sit in CCI. So I said, I want to just go and see what CCI is like,
Yeah.
dressing rooms are like. He said, no, you will not be allowed, but I'll take you till the entrance of CCI, clubhouse. And he took me inside, just beyond the reception where there is a hall.
Yeah.
And I saw Tiger,
Yeah.
Jaisima, Farooq Engineer,
Yeah.
coming out of the dressing room
Dressing.
and getting into the lift to go off for lunch.
Correct.
And I said, oh man, I said, when will I get to play with these guys?
Yeah, rub shoulders with them.
This was 66.
Yeah.
When I played Mama Karmasakar benefit match, Tiger was captain of my team.
Yeah.
And when I saw him, I didn't have words to say.
Yeah.
What to call him, sir? Yes.
And charismatic figure.
Yeah, absolutely. And thereafter, when I was selected, when I reached Bangalore for the first test match, I remember we were staying at West End Hotel and Tiger had a suite just
Yes.
at the entrance.
Yes.
And he was in the balcony, looking down. So I got down from the taxi. I said, well done. See you later. That's all he said.
Oh.
And went in. And sharing a dressing room with Tiger,
Yeah.
and what I thought in 1966, oh my God, that's a different feeling.
I've still got Anshuman Gaikwad with me, and we are going to talk about his journey into the Indian team, and of course subsequently as a selector, as a coach, and amongst the most influential figures, I might add, in Indian cricket. So, Anshu, we were at the point where you got informed that you're part of the Indian team, and you rubbing shoulders with Tiger Pataudi and Jaisimha.
My favorite captain.
Your favorite captain.
Yep.
So, obviously, one can imagine the excitement at being part of the Indian team.
Yeah.
But was there also some fear, some tension? Because, coming from Baroda, where you would normally play 4-5 matches in a year,
Correct.
and then if the opportunity is lost, you go back right to the end of the queue.
Absolutely.
Because other people have queued up. Was that something that played on your mind?
Oh yes, yes. Because one was you being a big fan
Yeah.
of Pataudi
Yeah.
as a captain, and then you're there with him, knowing such a big personality, and he had a tremendous personality, and man of few words again, wouldn't talk much,
No.
and you certainly get so close to him. You have a fear, yes, but that pressure is always there. What will he say?
Yeah.
What will he tell me to do? And we used to keep that distance all the time. I used to be away because I don't want to be close because he'll say something. So that was a psychological fear. But once we got close to each other, maybe 74 series once we played,
Yeah.
as the series progressed, I think we got very close to each other.
So you got his picture or a portrait
Yeah.
in your puja room in your
Yeah,
house.
that's-
So subsequently you must have met him many times.
Many times, yeah.
What was the defining trait of Tiger Pataudi? Why is he so revered by people who played along with him?
I think very less spoken,
Yes.
which kept people guessing.
Yeah.
What is he thinking? What is going in his mind?
Yeah.
Number two, he was very decisive. He decided he will not ask 10 people what I should do.
Yeah.
Because I remember as a captain, my first test match in Calcutta, West Indies were cruising.
Yeah.
They had to score some 100 odd runs, though wicket was turning, and we all thought he will finish in, they won't get 100 runs, going off the field. Asked Farooq to just take over for an over. Chandra had bowled so badly, who we were relying.
Yeah.
And, he stopped him. I said the main key bowler who would go through West Indies side was not bowling well. So I said it's question of time that we will lose. So Bishan and Pras were bowling in tandem. Tiger came back after over and brought back Chandra. So I and Karsan, we started discussing. I said, what the hell, he just wants to finish it early and go because he's not bowling well. He was bowling short, full tosses, wide. And Chandra picked up 3 quick wickets. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. He was so decisive in his thinking. And he was prepared to take chances. He was not a safe captain, safe person. Even off the field, if you look at him, he knew exactly what he was doing. And he would do exactly what he likes and not others like. He was not bothered with the others. Just leave it, don't bother. I said, Tiger, don't worry.
So conflicting views emerge about Tiger from the outside. Obviously, you knew him well. One is that he was aloof, he was royalty. Maybe he didn't want to be aloof, but because
because the royalty. That
yeah.
comes in your system.
The other is that he was with fellow cricketers. He was, magnanimous, great host,
Brilliant.
very good with youngsters. Even if it's a stern message he gave you, is something you remember all your life.
Yeah. And it's so pertinent
Yeah.
for you to take it in the right spirit.
Right.
and it helps you to grow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And that's why I have tremendous respect for Tiger.
Now tell me, from there, for 75, 76, you go to West Indies, which is a very demanding tour. The West Indies emerging as a very powerful, perhaps the most powerful force in international cricket in the history of the game, under Clive Lloyd. And you are now confronted with 3 or 4 demonic fast bowlers, batting in the top order, not having really, through your formative years, been a top order batsman. This demands more than just technique, courage.
Yeah.
So how did you cope? What is it that, everybody remembers Anshuman Gaikwad as a very courageous batsman, along, say, with Jimmy Amarnath,
Yeah. Yes, to be very frank, if you look at international cricket and domestic cricket, there are a lot of cricketers, especially batsmen I'm talking about, who have scored heavily. I mean, you take top 10 aggregate batsmen in Indian history.
Yeah.
How many have been successful in international cricket? 3, 4, 5? Rest, no. And why? Is exactly what you're saying. You need determination, you need a strong heart to go there, out and perform. Technique, yes, it has to be there. But unless you have a heart to go out there and take the pressure of West Indies like bowlers or even the crowd, 100,000 people watching and shouting.
Yeah.
So all that, if you're prepared to take it, then only you can perform.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference and big jump from domestic to international. And that's what everyone, when I became the selector also, me and Vishwanath, we used to discuss the same thing.
Yeah.
That who will take the pressure? You'll find a lot of people, performing at domestic level, but really go up there and perform. And that's the insight you must have, and that you will get only when you've gone through the same thing again.
So tell me a little bit, and because I'm very fascinated by the 70s phase, 70s and 80s of Indian cricket, because that's also when I started in late 70s, 79, 80, my career as a journalist. So there was the mahal. In India you had Gavaskar, Vishwanath. Towards the end of the 70s decade you had Kapil Dev coming in.
Yeah.
You were in that mix. And overseas you had guys like Viv Richards, Gordon Greenidge, the fast bowlers, the West Indies fast bowlers, the great all-rounder from Pakistan, Imran Khan, Richard Hadley, Ian Botham, then playing against these other guys who are also world-class performers. People still argue, and I'm inclined sometimes to agree, that the bowling attack you saw in those days has been perhaps the best in the history of the game.
Absolutely. But there was quality.
Quality.
Not quantity.
Yeah.
Now you see a lot more quantity than quality.
Yeah.
You might have 1 bowler or 2 bowlers in a team, or quality would run through the batting. But there used to have 3, 4.
Yeah.
And that's why I always said that Clive Lloyd,
Yeah.
I just spoke to him 2 days ago, and as a captain, from first slip to first slip, he had to just give a ball to one. He bowls for half an hour, 45 minutes. Give another one. He bowls for half an hour, 45 minutes. Change over. That fellow gets fresh, comes back again. So there was no respite. No respite. And looking at West Indies, playing in West Indies, Ayaz, no helmets, no chest pads, there were no thigh pads. We used to put napkins inside. And so it was tough. But again, coming back to the same thing, there has to be a will to do well. And we must have strong will.
And Viv Richards, was he very intimidating as a batsman?
He was the way he used to walk, to bat. Meaning, it was a challenge itself. His walk itself was a challenge. Forget his bat. The way he used to walk as he's come to destroy, And the way he used to bat also. He used to literally walk and hit the ball. He was fearless, absolutely. And fearless meaning any bowler for that matter. He would care a hang. He would want to dominate all the time and make sure that he goes through. Absolutely.
And in our own dressing room, there were these, not quite as tall and intimidating, but terrific batsmen like Sunil and Vishwanath.
Yeah, I think they were one of the greatest batsmen. And I am a big fan of Sunil as a batsman. I think the greatest opening, when we talk about Jeffrey Boycott and so on and so forth, they're technically very sound, but not like Sunil. Sunil was the best, especially as an opening batsman. Sunil, on a good track, would win you matches. Vishy on a bad track
would win you matches.
Will win you matches. So that's a big difference. And batting with Sunil, my experience has been
and different personalities.
Absolutely, absolutely. But they respected each other, complimented each other, always. That was the best thing. Batting with Sunil, it was big advantage for me. Being at non-striker then,
Yeah.
the way he used to bat, the way his technique was, he used to make the bowling look very easy.
Yeah.
That used to give me almost 50% confidence that there's nothing in the bowling.
Yeah.
And then when I had to go on bat,
Yeah.
I was feeling that much confidence there's nothing in the bowling. So it was like fearless.
So what was the defining quality of Sunil Gavaskar? Because subsequently you were coach, when Sachin was playing, for instance, is spanning two different eras completely.
Right.
What was Sunil's defining characteristic as a batsman?
Well, I think, he believed in himself
Yeah,
so much.
self-belief, yeah.
So much. And he was very compact.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he is doing and what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And his planning was super. Like, he said, don't go after the bowlers.
Yeah.
Go out and get runs.
Yeah.
And that's what he used to do. And once he used to stay, there's nothing like. I don't think, I've seen very rarely he hit missing a ball
Yeah.
or getting beaten.
Yeah.
Or hitting a ball and going to the fielder's hand.
Yeah.
It was so precise.
So he passed the baton on to Sachin.
Yep.
And Sachin, of course, not an opener, but middle order. But the
Sachin, I think, was again different kind.
Different
I would say Sachin was a mix of Sunil and not so great technically as Sunil was,
yeah,
and not so offensive like Viv was.
yeah.
But
a
mix
good
of two.
combination of the two.
Mix of two.
So the 70s and 80s. Now, not many people know you were part of two World Cup squads. And the image that they had was he's a stout-hearted, primarily defensive batsman. And one-day cricket, not many people know Anshuman Gaikwad was part of the squad for two World Cups.
Yeah.
And then almost made it to the third.
Third.
Just
Yes.
about missed the bus. But you also had a roller coaster ride where your international career was concerned. And so you had many comebacks.
Like Mohinder.
Like Mohinder.
He did the same thing.
Was that a situation that kind of that was the ethos of Indian cricket then? In a state of
I don't know.
turmoil.
I don't know what the mentality and approach of the selectors was then.
Yeah.
But to tell you, right from my debut series against West Indies till I retired, I haven't missed a single series against West Indies. I was always recalled
Yeah.
wherever I was.
Yeah.
Like I was recalled in Australia
Correct.
when Surinder Amarnath got hit.
Yeah.
Now Suri was number 2, number 3 batsman. I was middle order.
Yeah.
But Bishan insisted that no, I don't want anybody, send so and so.
Yeah.
So, you see, these selectors that time, whether they wanted to, try out other people, like teams like England and New Zealand, they were not so formidable as West Indies,
Yeah.
or not so threatening as West Indies. But, and like another point I would like to bring out here is that you talked about 2 World Cups and all that. The approach of us then, we didn't have much idea about one day.
One-day cricket.
So we were playing normal cricket.
Correct.
So somebody wanted like me that I was branded, and I'll tell you why I was branded
Yeah.
also. That he's a guy who will not lose wicket, he'll stay there.
He'll hold one end.
So the partnerships can
Correct,
be created
correct,
with
correct.
Sunil, Vishy, whatever. Doesn't matter how much I score. So that could have been one reason what they were looking at. Other thing which I want to, very pertinent here, is that me and Sunil opening,
Yeah.
some of the selectors had, then, I wouldn't want to name them.
Yeah.
But they said, well, Anshu, you don't have to do anything. You just stay there. Sunil will do everything. You have to get the new ball old. That's your job. I said, fine. Yours obediently, Anshuman. So I used to bat for 2 hours, 3 hours and score 20, 30 runs.
Yeah.
And we get out.
Yeah.
But whenever Sunil has got out early,
Yeah.
I've always had a big score.
Big score.
And quick score.
Yeah.
So it was not that I couldn't bat in the limited over or couldn't
Yeah.
score quickly. When
It
you
was
look
the
at
demands of the team that
exactly,
made you play.
and that was the stamp given to me
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
That he's a slow guy. He'll stay there.
Correct. It becomes a stereotype.
Stereotype.
Yeah.
But had I not listened to them,
Yeah.
probably I would have got a lot more runs. And this situation of getting dropped
Yeah.
wouldn't have come.
So every time there's a setback, so how would you take it? And when you, so I want to extend that question. When you go back home, your father's played and captain India. What was he advised? What would he say something?
No, he would say, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
20, 30 is not good enough.
Yeah.
But then I told him, I said, this is what I've been told.
Yeah.
And I've done my job.
Yeah.
When the spinners come, that's the time I have got
Milk
out.
it, yeah.
He said, why do you get out at 25, 30, having batted for 3 hours?
Yeah.
He said, Hazare, if he bats for half an hour, he'll never get out.
Yeah.
That's what he used to. So I used to get that same feeling, well, it's not good enough. You have to do more, concentrate more.
Yeah.
And that is how it went.
But it can be so dispiriting when you are dropped, and then you
I'm
have to
telling
start
you,
all over again.
Yes, 1981, 81, 83, India went to Australia.
Yeah.
That year, I was in such a great form. I must have scored 2, 3, 4 double hundreds and 500s. I was averaging domestic 130 plus. I was not picked, but somebody was averaging 700 and 600 were picked on that tour.
Yeah.
I said, that's it. On this ground, this very ground, Moti Bagh, I said, I'm not going to play. I packed my kit bag, went home. I said, I'm not going to play at all. That's end of my career. Because I thought that I couldn't have batted better than that.
Yeah.
I was so confident, everything was middling. If I close my eyes and hit the ball, I'll hit it in the middle.
Sweet spot, yeah.
And it was Mohinder. He used to keep coming to Baroda because his in-laws is here. So he came to know him. He used to drop in on the ground. We were sitting, he said, Kya ho gaya, tu nahi ja raha practice? I said, no. I said, this is the reason. I can't bat better than this, what I've done.
Yeah.
And I'm still not selected. So they don't want it.
Correct.
They don't want me.
Yeah.
Nahi, aisa nahi. So he coaxed me so much, pushed me so much, and I started again. And next series against Pakistan, I got a double hundred.
Double hundred.
So,
Jalandhar, yeah. I remember
That's
that.
how life goes.
Yeah.
But yes, it is disturbing. Very disturbing because disturbing is disgusting.
Yeah.
Because you feel you're doing well and you've done the job what you've been told to do.
Yeah.
And then still you're not there. And then coming back, it was very difficult. Yes, because there were so many great batsmen.
Yeah.
And getting runs in
Competition was
domestic.
hotting up. Yeah.
And everything was selected on the domestic performance.
Correct. So from there to coaching, you became coach of the Indian team amongst the first. I mean, people don't, memory then doesn't go back that long.
Yeah.
But you had a fairly fruitful and longish stint as the coach.
Yeah, I mean,
The
I
slick-
love the job.
You love the job.
I love the job. I love the job.
And
I'll
you're
tell
a great people's person, so you got along well with everybody.
Yeah,
And a lot of youngsters there, Sachin, Azhar,
Yeah, but big players.
big players.
Big players, and not only big players, but players who have played more than me.
Correct. So
it
that's
was-
what I
it
wanted
was
to
little
ask you.
Difficult.
Difficult.
Yeah.
So by the time the generation had changed,
Yeah.
so you had big stars at your time as colleagues like Sunil or Vishy or Kapil Dev, but here now they're becoming bigger stars and prima donnas, and wealth had come into the
Absolutely.
players, fraternity. Good luck, and they have become wealthy.
Hmm.
They played far more matches than coaches would have ever thought of.
Correct.
How do you manage that kind of a
It's
situation?
man management.
Yeah.
To be very frank, to handle these guys who have played so much cricket, though junior, but still, somebody who's played 60 test matches, I played 40.
Yeah.
Somebody's played 70, somebody's played 80. And to handle them is not easy. They're not like schoolboys that you can tell them at, sit here, do
Yeah.
this, don't do this. It doesn't work that way. So, it takes time to get them into confidence.
Yeah.
They have to gain confidence into you. You can't demand respect.
Yeah.
You have to command respect. For that, you have to do a lot of things. And it was simply man management. And then, again, I think right from the beginning, I was a good student of the game,
Yeah.
which was taught to me by Mama Saheb Gorpade, my father,
Yeah.
to a certain extent Vijay Hazare, that you study what the others are doing, how they're performing better, because of what they're performing.
Yeah.
The pitches, the wickets, what does it look like now, what does it look like in the evening,
Yeah.
first day, second day, third day. So every day I was taken on the ground by Mama Saheb. And he used to show me, see the difference, now how the wicket will behave. So it was study.
Yeah.
And that, nature of, knowing more and more things,
Yeah.
being inquisitive, helped me ultimately when I was a coach, being a good student. So I used to look at each one, like it could be Saurav, it could be Sachin, Lakshman,
Yeah.
Dravid,
Yeah.
and all these guys. And then you talk about Srinath, Venkatesh Prasad, Anil
Yeah, it's a
Kumble.
galaxy of
Yeah.
big stars.
But I had to individually dissect them, study what way they can be treated, and how it was not a common yardstick.
Yeah.
I had different yardstick for everybody, and it took me good long 6 months.
You enjoyed that job?
Oh yes, oh yes.
You were also selected at one stage.
Yeah, 4 years I did.
yeah.
After that I.
But between selection and coaching,
it was very interesting.
coaching is
See, I'll tell you, when I was dropped, like what we discussed, I used to feel, disgusted, disappointed. What the hell, what wrong have I done?
yeah,
And somebody who's picked has done nothing.
yeah,
So that was one era as a player.
Yeah.
Then I became the selector. Looking from selector's angle, and as far as picking and dropping players are concerned, or selecting players are concerned, it was different. Then came the job of being coach.
yeah,
Now I want the best side because I know who is going to do well and who
Well,
is not going
yeah.
to do well. Now being a selector, I knew what mentality
Yeah,
I have.
yeah.
Being a player, I know how.
Yeah.
So balance between player and selectors, and get your thing done. You know what you want,
correct.
a player that you want. But it helped me. It helped me that I could convince selectors also.
Yeah,
Talk to the players also in case they are dropped. I used to make sure that they are not lost out.
Yeah.
I used to keep in touch with them because I know they'll come back. They'll have to come back because it was the selectors' views and whims that
Yeah.
time. I don't think it was so professional as such. It was more, especially my time. I think it was more likes and dislikes
correct. Yeah,
in a player.
a little more whimsical.
Whimsical,
Yeah. So tell me, also from players' mindset, because you were a player for, apart from a stop-start international career, you played for a long time for Baroda and West Zone,
Yeah, 23, 24 years.
24 years.
I think 18 years I captained Baroda, also,
Correct.
which
I'm
I
going to
think
come to
goes
that.
into Guinness Book or
Yes,
something.
yes. But the mindset of players, the facilities that are available at your time, then a little later when you were selector and coach, and now when you look at it, the money, the rewards, how people's thinking, the players' thinking has changed. What do you see the change? A youngster today,
See,
20,
it's-
21-year-old today.
I would say yes, it's good that players are getting money.
Yeah,
I'm happy because I know what tough times that we have gone. We had to work
yeah,
and play
yeah.
compulsorily to survive.
Survive, yeah,
Because we need money.
yeah,
Not money for luxury, but for survival.
yeah.
Today they are getting money is very good. But I personally feel that at domestic level, see, international they are far, far more professional.
Yeah,
Because if they don't perform, they don't get the money.
yeah.
So they have to perform. To perform, you have to keep it focused.
Focus, yeah.
And to keep focus, then it comes your fitness, your technique, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
So, domestic level, I feel that a lot of these people, the kind of progression that we had our times, where there was no money,
yeah,
it seems that there's a lot of stagnancy which has come in performances. They're quite happy they get 100
yeah,
or they get 3 wickets. They're quite happy. I'm in the team.
Yeah.
I'll get my money. But it's not that they are not breaking their head like we used to do.
Correct.
You bang your head on the wall and see why the hell did you get out like this?
yeah,
And we used to ensure that time. The mantra was, if you get run out, make sure you don't get run out in your lifetime. Don't make that mistake again. If you get LBW or caught behind, make sure you don't do that mistake again. Here it doesn't look like. It is all the same, and they're quite satisfied. It looks to me.
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but I don't see that double hundreds and big hundreds or fivers being taken often.
Would you advocate, just as a corollary question, would you advocate more participation by international stars in domestic cricket? Because, they have their engagements. There's too much international cricket also being played. But to kind of invite, appreciation of domestic crowd support, domestic cricket to become stronger.
Makes a lot of sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I remember our time.
Like Australia insists.
Yeah, it has to be like that. Like our time, me, Sunil, all that.
Yeah, you all,
Between the series, between the test matches, there used to be a Ranji match,
yeah,
which we had to go and
go
play.
and play.
That's how Sunil got hurt. He hurt his thumb in Aurangabad
Correct.
from Pandurang
74
Sarkar.
series.
Yeah. And he did not play the Calcutta match, and that's how I played.
Yes.
So we had to play, and that is one reason. Meaning, I'm telling you, this ground, this very ground, Motiba ground, there used to be police, escorts. There used to be 25, 30,000 people watching the Ranji match. So they look up to these cricketers, learn a lot,
Yeah.
share the dressing room, share the thoughts,
Yeah.
and they develop so fast. It happened to us.
Correct. That was how it.
Yeah. Like university cricket.
The gospel of cricket
Yeah,
spread.
like university cricket, what we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
See, university cricket, how many of us have played from university cricket to India?
Correct.
Sunil, Marcel, Dilip,
Yeah.
Sandeep,
Yes.
Patil. So many.
So many.
Which is missing. And I have been advocating to BCCI also that we must give emphasis on this inter-university cricket, where it's a huge ocean of cricketers.
Yeah, and great catchment area.
Yeah.
You run an academy where there are lots of different age groups, kids coming and playing. What do you sense is the mindset of a budding cricketer, 8-10-year-old today? How is it different from when you were 9-10? Are they looking to become instant heroes, stars?
Yes.
Are they willing to put in the hard yards?
Yes, first let me correct you.
Yeah.
I don't run an academy.
Okay, you don't run an
No, it's my son who does it.
Okay.
He's running in my name.
Right.
I don't.
Okay.
Because I travel a lot
Yeah,
and
yeah.
with my commitments and all that, whether it's television or BCCI, whatever. But yes, what you said was right. Now today's, kids, they feel it's like an instant coffee. They start practicing and next day they want result.
Yeah.
They go into bed and they think I should get 100.
Yeah.
So they want results so quickly and don't want to work as hard as we did. And we worked hard not waiting for the results
Yeah.
to get better.
Better.
Results will come
Correct.
depending on the time. But how do you get better? So when I used to talk, whenever I get the opportunity to talk to the boys, the youngsters, I always tell them, today you have joined a camp or a coaching net. After a week, write down in your note every day what you do and see whether from day 1 to day 6 or day 7,
Yeah.
how much have you improved. If you have not improved, stop playing cricket.
Yeah. Wow. That's
So don't waste your time.
Yeah.
You have to gain something every day, every second day, every third day. Then only the progress will come. Either you learn mentally, physically, technically, whatever.
That's the old school thinking,
Yeah.
which is important.
That's very important. But these are see, IAS cricket has not changed and will never change. The basics
Yeah.
of cricket remains the same.
Same.
You do side-on batting, you do side-on bowling,
Yeah.
do side-on catching. Yeah, you try and do something innovative.
Yeah. Some
But
improvisation,
ultimately,
yes. Yeah.
ultimately you come to the basics.
Yeah.
Because you don't do basics, you're not going to last long. That's for sure.
So now I'm coming back to Baroda cricket because fundamentally this is about BCA and your associate. 23, 24-year career from the time you finished universities or as a teenager you started playing and then finished as a senior pro and captain for what? How many years?
18 years.
18 years you
Yeah.
captain. And remember, this is the time when the 50s, when Baroda was very strong, had passed.
Yeah.
You were in the 70s, where you and I think Narayan Satam, as we discussed,
Correct.
were the two
Correct.
pillars.
So there are two of us who used to do most of the things.
And then you ended up becoming a mentor for players like Rashid Patel, Kiran More, Nayan Mongia. Baroda kept producing cricketers for the Indian team.
Yeah.
And you also then somehow, I think you were instrumental in getting Zahir Khan to come and play for
Yeah.
Baroda
That was when I was coach.
when you
Yes.
were coach. But I'm
Yeah.
saying that span as a player, as a
right.
captain, as a coach.
Various
what has been the
capacities.
journey?
It's
Fulfilling? You think something else could have been done, something differently?
Uh,
Do you think Baroda was too conservative in its thinking? I'm playing devil's advocate here.
No. I think I'm quite happy, and I think I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
The kind of support I've got in my life. I mean, you look at it from '69 that I played the BCCI tournament,
Yeah.
the first in school. We're talking about 2020,
Correct.
so it's 50 years.
50 years.
I think I have no regrets as such
Yeah.
of who gets all this.
Yeah.
There's so many people in India who may be capable, may not be capable, but there are
Yeah.
who could have done all these jobs. Why me?
Yeah.
But I'm so fortunate that thanks to BCCI, thanks to whatever, my fans, my supporters, that they kept faith in me
Yeah.
and I'm still there
Yeah.
doing the job. And
Anything you feel could have been different?
one
Any-
thing,
yeah.
one thing that is yes, I thought I wanted to give back a lot of it to Baroda cricket.
Yeah.
I've gained everything from here,
Yes.
whatever I am today.
Yeah.
And give back is cricket-wise or administrative-wise.
Yeah.
I was secretary for 2 years and I wanted to do a lot more. I mean, in fact, I had to, I had this feeling that I'm not doing enough
Yeah.
for Baroda cricket. And I wanted to do a lot of it. But somehow it didn't work. And that's the only hitch I've got, that what I wanted to contribute to Baroda cricket,
Yeah.
give back,
Yeah.
what it has given me. That's the only thing I've not been able to do.
Are you bullish about Baroda cricket in the sense of the talent that even if your son is running the academy, he must be giving you some feedback? It's become very competitive, the environment.
Yes.
You know, hinterland India is providing so many cricketers, so the old establishments are being seriously challenged, whether it's Mumbai or Delhi or
That's right,
Karnataka.
that's right.
Baroda in that sense is a very strong legacy and traditional
Yeah.
state association.
Yeah.
So the challenge from the other centres is becoming very aggressive. Do you think Baroda is capable, confident of coping with this assault, so to speak?
Well, yes, why not?
Yeah.
See, Baroda without the facilities,
Yeah.
as we talked.
Well, you had the
well,
Pathan
stadium.
brothers and the Pandya brothers and
Exactly.
cricketers like that
You
coming.
talk about that. My father who played in 1950.
Yeah.
Then I came in 1970.
Yeah,
Then came Kiran More, Rashid Patel, Atul Bedade.
yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
Then you had Pathan brothers. Now you have Pandya brothers.
Yeah.
So from decade to decade to decade to decade, Baroda has been always contributing to Indian team
yeah.
and quality players.
Correct.
It's just not that they have gone and come out.
Come out, yeah,
So the culture is there.
yeah,
The culture has to be maintained.
yeah,
If that, and discipline has to be maintained. If that happens, these boys are talented.
yeah.
See, if you can perform today, why can't you perform tomorrow?
Correct.
That means if you perform and get 100 or a double 100, pick up 5 wickets. That means you have
Have
you.
it in you.
You have your potential. That needs to be streamlined.
Yeah.
It needs to be disciplined. It has to be focused. And you will do better, which is lacking at the moment.
So tell me, Anshuman Gaikwad, now part of the Apex Council of the BCCI, what do you see the road ahead for the council and for Anshuman Gaikwad in Indian cricket? What is it that you still want to do?
Oh yeah, meaning I would like to improve on cricket. There are certain things, lot of things which have tried and tested, recent past,
Yeah,
as far as cricket is concerned in India, which are not helping. Certain things are helping, certain things are not helping. So delete those things which are harmful
Yeah.
for cricket and cricketers, and get on the right track. And I'm sure, meaning what we see,
Yeah.
fortunately, BCCI has done such a great job by giving money into the associations and spreading the game into districts.
yeah,
And that's why we see
Footprint is all over.
Yeah, people coming
yeah,
into Indian team or into limelight from small villages,
yeah,
small states. Now
So
that needs to be nurtured, and they require guidance, especially you look at Northeast.
yes,
Those states, which have recently got the recognition,
Yeah.
the 5-6 states. Now they have nothing. I have gone as an affiliation committee member. I have toured Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, and went to Aizwal, and I saw they don't have enough facility, and if they have facility, they don't have people
yeah,
who can guide them and get things done.
yeah,
So I don't say that they don't have talent.
yeah.
They would have talent,
Yeah.
but there's nobody to nurture them.
Well,
That's what we need.
hopefully these are very wise and no, these are
This all comes from this experience.
experience,
Of 50
but these
years.
are important words. And obviously, while India is very powerful and very strong where
Yeah.
the sport is concerned, there's no limit to what excellence one can achieve, right?
And yes, let's not forget, you cannot buy experience. You can't
You
go to
cannot.
the shop and buy experience. You have to go through that.
On those very important pertinent words, this is thanking you, Anshuman, for being
My pleasure, yes,
for
always.
sparing so much time. And he's been one of the pillars, as I mentioned, of Baroda Cricket Association, and not just there, also in various capacities for Indian cricket. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and
Pleasure
I
talking to you.
would like to thank Baroda Cricket Association for asking me to be with you and talk about Baroda cricket.
Thank you.
And wish Baroda cricket all the very best.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Always there to help you and guide you.